so sad that it hadn't been because, like, we were just so on a roll. But I guess it would have been, a little premature because we just jumped right into our content.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There was no introduction.
No
introductions
introductions.
or anything.
Yes.
You know, I tend to not do introductions up here. I just, get it going, hey, thanks for coming, Carolyn.
Well, thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming up here. We're excited to have you on. We met you a couple of weeks ago.
Tobacco Road Tours.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
Haunted Footsteps in Raleigh.
Thanks for the plug. Brad would appreciate that.
Oh yeah,
Honor.
we've got a cool little logo up here on your name and everything, man,
great.
and your website address. I enjoyed it. It was a great time. Learned a lot about Raleigh that night that I didn't even know. There's parts I've been living in this area for like 10 plus years, and I had never been to the governor's mansion. I didn't know about the parks. I never even went walking around in the parks.
Like in Moore Square.
Yeah,
where all those hangings occurred.
Oh my God! And I didn't know there was 4 squares.
There were 5.
5 squares.
And there's 3 left.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, the Nash and Moore and Bicentennial. But Bicentennial wasn't called Bicentennial. It's just called Bicentennial now.
The one you took us to was like the hot square, though.
Yeah. We went to Moore Square, which is the public punishment square, where all of the people have been hanged.
Yeah.
They were hung. People were whipped. People had horrible things done to them. And then there's still Nash Square, and then the square where the Capitol is. So you've been to 2. The one with the Capitol, that's Bicentennial Square.
Oh, well,
okay.
Well, tell us about yourself. We got Carolyn Briggs-Gaul in studio. We kind of said, hey, you run a tour. Tell us about yourself. What's your background?
I am I'm an actor and a teacher. So where you guys met me on these tours, I honestly answered an ad. I like the ghosts. I love true crime. Love all the paranormal stuff. And my background's in theater and in education. I teach English and theater by day, and I write. And I answered this ad to do these tours, and I've just had a ball. So it's I don't get to be on stage as much as I'd like to be because my children keep me busy. So this has been, it's been my theater to be able to get up and put on a little show for people and talk about history, and then there's the education spin too and stuff too. So I'm originally from Chicago, so I can tell you all about some cool Chicago history too. And then I've lived here for 8 years.
Oh, cool.
With my family.
How hard is it to act?
How hard is it to act?
Yeah, is it?
I mean, it's a craft. I've been doing it for a very long time. I started when I was 6 years old.
Okay.
So I think my mother found my energy exhausting and put me into some acting classes, and I haven't stopped. Majored in theater in college, and I was a professional actress in Chicago for a decade.
Wow.
And
Where did you perform?
Mostly musical theater and a lot of children's theater. So smaller theaters, musical theater stuff. And then we lived in the middle of the country, Peoria, Illinois, for 7 years, and I did theater there too.
But Peoria.
It plays in Peoria. Richard Pryor's from Peoria. That's the claim to fame.
Sorry, it didn't even go off. Chill.
Should I put mine away too? Is it like a no?
No, he's not going to yell at you because you're our guest.
Look,
he's going to yell at me because I'm the co-host.
Every podcast, Carolyn, this happens. Her phone will get like a notification or something while it's sitting on the table, and you can hear it in the headset.
Oh, sure.
Even my phone. If I put my phone on up here and it goes off, you'll hear it.
Yeah.
So that's.
Well, I tucked my.
And now she's giving me the look. Now she's like, this bastard did it again.
Because all you did was look at the phone. There wasn't even a notification, and look, now you're chiming.
That's not me.
That was my watch.
See?
Again, oh my goodness.
Just let me blame it on him.
Just, you know what? Just, feel free.
Full of venom over here.
To throw me under the bus
You
at
shot first,
any
bro.
time.
So I love your background. I also did theater. I did not major in theater in college because I was young and naive and I thought that I actually had to have an applied degree to like get a good career. Such a scam. I totally should have done it because the little bit of theater that I did while I was in college was like so invigorating. It totally takes you out of any comfort zone that you thought you had already broken through, and you found that there were new comfort zones that you just had to keep like busting through. And it was my favorite thing, you know, all through high school and college. It was a great time.
And you can use a theater degree for more than just performing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Things I wish I could have told 17-year-old Laura.
Wait.
Yeah, we're all young and stupid teenagers that,
For sure.
get it.
You were in theater. You never told me this. This has never come up in conversation before.
BB, because we've spent the last year and a half talking about you.
Look at that.
Oh no.
That was
So,
funny.
like, what kind of theater were you in? Musicals, or like, or is there some prominent roles you had?
So, yes, actually, my high school theater coach was, like, so adamantly opposed to musicals. So I was not in, I think, like a single musical all through, and I'm trying really hard to like run through the, I don't know, maybe 12, bigger productions that I did in high school. I don't think a single one of them was a musical. And the 2 that I did in college were not musicals either. So my favorite production from high school was one that my theater coach actually wrote. And I didn't know that he was much of like a playwriter. He was an amazing coach and teacher. He's taught me so much. Ray Carver still does like small productions, one-man shows in Richmond, Virginia. He is truly a mastermind, but he did write out a play about the Great Depression. That's really like his era. He loves that. And it was just such a good time because that was really the production that pushed me a little bit further. I think this was like my 4th play with him, and this was his kind of turning point with me. Like, are you committing to this or not? Like, you're growing into this. No, I want to see you really want it. And that show did it. That was my first really major on stage flub. Like,
So what happened? What happened?
It was literally the longest monologue in the entire script. 5 minutes, like 5 full minutes of me playing this character who had to find some like low-end job, like riveting or something, and had to get like, government assistance to feed her family. And it was the words government man. The government man came, and et cetera, et cetera. And those words, like even in rehearsals, I had the hardest time getting them out. And on stage, opening night, full house, government man. And then I stormed off the stage at the end of my monologue, and I was so angry because I'm such a perfectionist, and I'm like, I can't believe I fucked that up.
Do you know, I read something on Facebook this morning. I get these little weird articles that pop up, and it was on Marilyn Monroe. And it was like, I can't remember what the clickbait article was, but I clicked it, and I was like scrolling through. Do you know, it took her 60 takes to say, "It's me, sugar." 60 takes, because nobody liked her. What was the movie that she was shooting? Oh my God, I can't remember it. I'll look it up later. But the cast, everybody hated Marilyn Monroe in her later years.
Wasn't it in Some Like It Hot? That everybody
Yes,
hated her?
it was.
Yeah.
Some Like It Hot.
I've read that before
60
too.
takes for her to say, "It's me, sugar."
It probably just got in her head, and then she couldn't get past it, and she got the yips.
Yeah.
Just like sports people, where then like you just can't do it, and you just can't move past.
She was
that.
messed up. Man. I
Yeah.
heard a lot about her,
So
yeah.
tragic.
I deeply empathize with that.
What? That you're messed up like Marilyn Monroe? What? I mean,
that poor woman. She just, she was not as dumb as they made her out to be.
Yeah, she hated playing the dumb blonde roles.
Oh, completely.
Yeah, from what I read, she hated that. And it was crazy. Like, Joe DiMaggio was her boyfriend for the longest time. And him and Frank Sinatra used to, like, kick doors in and beat people up. And they used to stalk Marilyn Monroe. Crazy stuff, man. I wonder if she's got a ghost lingering around somewhere.
That would mess up any, like, average woman. But now a public figure, America's, like, most famous female at that point, and just being watched every second of her life, and now she's being stalked by 2 domestic abusers. Yeah, that would mess anyone up.
I think that's why she ended up, she was married to Arthur Miller.
Yeah.
And she tried to make herself look more serious by attaching herself to a very serious playwright.
But
he was a closeted homosexual, so
yeah, he got to the point where he couldn't stand her, and he wrote in his memoirs that he couldn't stand her and some other negative stuff, and she found it, and she got heartbroken.
Poor girl.
Yeah, she went through the ringer, but eventually, her and Joe DiMaggio became friends. I guess after the incident where him and Frank Sinatra and some other like goons kicked the door down, and that kind of shook up Joe DiMaggio, where he was like, "Oh God, this is some shit right here." So he got his life together. Him and Marilyn Monroe became like really good friends again. He actually put her funeral together along with a couple more people. Yeah, the shit you learn on Facebook, let me tell you, it's good stuff.
Back to Carolyn.
Yeah.
Thank you for that snippet.
That was great. Yeah. Those BuzzFeed articles are always super interesting.
Oh, it's like 12up.com or something. Yeah, it's good stuff.
And then you look and you're like, ooh, it's only a 3-minute read.
Oh, you just keep scrolling.
And then suddenly your whole day's gone. It's like TikTok, but you're actually kind of learning something.
Yeah. So you went from acting, Carolyn, and, to answering adding Craigslist. And now you are a tour leader in Raleigh on ghost tours.
Did you say it was Craigslist?
No, it was Indeed. But, I think it's all pretty much the same.
I'm thinking.
I just answered a want ad.
Well, Craigslist
is kind of sketchy.
It's a little sketchy. Comes with some connotations,
It's got some sus.
Well, you know what? I think that's the old Craigslist.
Yes.
I think they kind of cleaned it
Carolyn
up a little
Briggs-Gaul
bit.
is not a prostitute. So just,
No, really. I'm just trying to lead ghost tours. There's nothing subversive about
I'm not
this.
selling anything weird or,
And
Damn it.
You stay busy because you also write travel reviews.
I do. I write for a travel app, and I teach full time, and I have my own theater company.
Oh my God.
And you have 3 kids?
And I have 3 boys. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm just one of those weird people where if I'm not busy every second, then I become like a loaf on my couch. Watching Squid Games for like 12 hours.
Oh my God! Did you watch that?
I watched
you watched
it,
the whole season?
I sure did. Yeah.
So did you watch it with subtitles or with the dub?
No, I watched it with the subtitles because my 18-year-old son insisted that it was better. So he was like, "You have to watch it in Korean, Mom. It's just so much better." I'm like, "Okay." So
I did the dub version. I did not feel like reading.
He is a pretentious.
That's precious.
Freshman in college, and he thinks he knows everything.
You can't tell him nothing.
No.
So Laura hasn't seen Squid Games
It's
yet.
really, really good.
Yeah.
I caught an episode with you. I think it was like
It's
literally
dark.
the second episode, and I'm like, this is the writer, is he okay?
Yeah. Well, I was skeptical. But when, it's so slow to start off with, it shows the story of the guy starting off. But then, after they go to the island and they play red light, green light, I
know, with that creepy doll.
Okay. But
my neighbor had that sound coming out of his house for Halloween this year. And so as I was setting up trick or treat, and you heard na 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 na, I'm like, okay, that has got to go. I can't.
And that head turning, that creepy head turning.
I just need to watch this series so everyone's memes can be funny to me again without me going, oh, I know that's Squid Games, but I don't know what that means.
So, and I'm thinking with the dub version, it's funnier because some of the voices don't match
completely.
the characters. Like that, the little small tiny girl that partnered up with the gangster, and then the gangster kicked her to the curb, and then she's like giving him the middle finger the whole show. She had the weirdest like dub voice for her. It was crazy. I was just laughing. Yeah.
I find some dubs now. From what I saw watching it with you, it was pretty well done, but there's some dubbing that just like takes me out of the storyline. Like it's so bad that I like can't even focus on what's happening. But
the games were intense. They had me into bed like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I couldn't even put myself in their place.
The one with the first one wasn't even the worst one.
No,
You
the
know,
first
and
game.
the first one, that ended, and then I'm like, well, that was really graphic and really dark, and then they just get worse.
What was the worst one to you?
I don't know. The tug of war one was really. I mean, the one with the cookie. Just,
Oh, this one right here.
and then the game, the game at the end when they're like,
the one where they jump.
Yeah.
Oh, jumping on the glass panes. Oh my God.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's just. They're just like, and it isn't even that they're just like more graphic or more violent. It's just like psychologically what they're doing to these people.
Yeah, it's
just
weird.
And then all the weird masks, and it's just kind of like, strange, like some Tom Cruise sex game, kind of, with all of the
Do you think there's gonna be a season 2?
I think they have already signed up for one.
Oh, I mean, they left you with a cliffhanger.
Yeah, because the guy in the in the subway, and then So I mean, there has to be a season 2.
Laura, you have to catch up.
I feel like there's a difference between being a loaf and binging Netflix for 12 straight hours and resting. Do you rest? Do you sleep?
Of course, yeah, yes. I am very, very good at time management.
Good. You have to be with everything you have going on. Yeah. I truly applaud
I'm the definition of an extrovert. And so I need to have this stuff just kind of like constantly feeding my energy
you have to be to lead those tours. Yeah.
They're so fun.
So how did you get it? You got into the tours from an ad, but did you already have experience in the supernatural, or did you have to learn a lot?
No, not at all. So I have just like a smidgen of experience. I did tours in downtown Chicago, but like 20 years ago. And that was another just kind of like, to me, it was just like an acting gig. And those focused on like some ghosts surrounding the Chicago fire and some things and that was also just seasonal. So it was just like a quick little gig. We were like in full costume and makeup and like, dressed like period performers and stuff. And there was a whole group of us that put on this kind of ghost tour, historical tour of downtown Chicago. But again, many, many years ago when I did that. But no, I just thought this sounded fun. And, I'd watch all the ghost shows and, listen to other ghost podcasts. And I really like true crime. And so just kind of one of my interests, I guess.
You'll have to leave me a list of your favorite spooky podcasts that talk about ghosts before you go. 'Cause
yes.
I love spooky stories. Like, I love ghost stories. I love spooky shit.
I think my favorite one is This Is Why We Drink. If you've
done.
It's so good.
This is why we drink.
This is why we drink. And their picture on their podcast is a Ouija board with like wine spilled on it. It's fantastic.
Oh my God.
Fantastic.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't mess with Ouija boards. I kind of draw the line at opening portals into unholy dimensions.
Yeah, they're real good, and it's a different ghost story every week.
Oh yes,
that's wonderful.
Okay, that's a good one. I'm not gonna ask you to list off anymore because I don't want to lose our one listener.
Yeah, I'll send you a whole list. Well, really, a lot of people I'm sure who listen to this too. We have multiple interests and.
True.
What city's got the best ghost stories? Raleigh or Chicago?
Oh, gosh. Raleigh, I think the older the city, the better the ghost stories.
Yeah.
And, Chicago in the middle of the country is not nearly as old. So I think Raleigh has, and the more I've gotten into this and done more research on my own, because I was handed a script when I got hired. And this was like, all of the set places that we were going. But the teacher in me is like, okay, well, there's got to be more. And so I started doing my own research and finding about more places that not only were on our tour, but were then around Raleigh.
So tell me your favorite Raleigh ghost story.
My favorite of all of the Raleigh stories is the Capitol.
Okay.
Is the state capitol, since it is the most haunted state capitol in the country.
Get out.
All of the other state capitals do not nearly have the activity.
What makes it so haunted?
I think just because since the first one burned down, and I think because so many people are so personally invested in this capitol, so I think a lot of people, when they have, like, only that they know of, only one person has actually died in the building. And that was the story that I told you guys with the Confederate soldier that shot at the Union soldiers during the Civil War, and he actually died in the building. But I think so many people are so invested in that building because of everything that people had gone through to get that building up and the way that Raleigh was founded, that I think other ghosts have attached themselves to the Capitol, and now there's like a dozen ghosts that are there.
I'm curious, like, how do you get the number that, like, a dozen in there?
I would just assume, just from the stories that the Capitol Police have told, that the other security people have told, just when they see people, like, they've seen groups of spirits when they come around a corner and there's like a group of 10, like men kind of in Victorian garb that are standing around. And just from some of the other people that they've seen around, they don't necessarily know who these people are. Like I said, there isn't like a specific, like, it's not the Peg Leg Ghost, it's not Mary Willis. They don't have specific names attached to it. But just the number of spirits that have been seen around, that they just, this is the number that's been thrown
And
out.
different ghosts have different MOs too. So it's, when you're the night guard at the state capitol and you're like, I'm not used to that specific haunting or this room having activity. It's obviously a different spirit or energy or ghost hanging around.
And there's
in there.
things that are happening at the same time too, like the elevators going up and down while there's sounds of glass shattering, while the lights are going off and on, and they're happening in all different parts of the building.
And it can't metaphysically be one energy source causing all this chaos. It can't draw enough energy to do all that.
Now, excuse my ignorance. My questions are coming from a place of curiosity.
Of
totally. Now, and I don't have a better way to describe this except for Ghostbusters. All right. So remember in the first scene, I believe, the librarian?
Yes.
That's what I'm picturing the Capitol Police were seeing. Is that what they're seeing? Like an apparition of a
They have seen actual apparitions. And Owen Jackson, who is the guard that probably kept the best documents, that, kept pretty good notes. And his stories are the ones that are in the archives. He saw everything from full-on what looked like flesh and blood people, where there was color to them, to he saw outlines of people. He saw shadows of people. He saw like a mist almost of people. And I'm sure that just depends on maybe how the ghosts want themselves to be seen. Or it could be maybe, I don't think I can speak that I know enough about it, but maybe it's like people kind of at like different levels maybe of like how far along they are like in their journey, of like, how much energy is left of them, that there could just be like some residual energy that's even left and they're not even there anymore. And it's just this kind of haze that's left.
That is so interesting to me, this energy that formulates a ghost. Like, is that energy trapped in this spectrum? It can't cross over or something? This is all I'm pulling from is movies here. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like ghosts always can't cross over or something that.
There was a couple that are actual ghost hunters that were on the tour.
Oh, okay.
Probably a month ago. And they explained it when we were talking about the peg leg ghost. They explained it that they don't think that like the actual ghost is there anymore, that it's just this like residual energy, and they compared it to like almost when people out in space, you know, and how sound waves travel. And so like you put out a message from like a satellite or something, and the further it travels, you know, it gets weaker and weaker and starts to kind of reverberate slowly. So this spirit, this like metaphysical being, has already passed on, but he's left an energy that's almost like a sound wave. And that's what you're hearing as the peg leg ghost was going up and down the stairs and up and down the stairs. And that's all that's left of him now.
Yeah, there's no consciousness left anymore. It's just like the echo of this existence.
I just cannot wrap my head around that. I don't get it.
Yeah, so it's like it's
wild.
just this leftover message that's just kind of like still reverberating out in the universe.
And so that was the first place you took us on the tour, right? No, as actually number
that
2.
Was
the Yarborough.
That was the third.
The third place?
Yarborough was first, and then Moore Square.
Oh, okay.
And then over to the white Holmen house where the peg leg ghost is.
So that home is actually for sale. I believe, what'd you say, like 1.5 million?
1.5, yeah.
And Laura took a picture of the house and swear, I mean, I looked at it too. It looked like there was a face in the window upstairs. Yeah, and it was kind of weird.
And that's the only one that I've seen. Other people have taken pictures of that. I have not seen anybody else take a picture.
Yeah, I'm looking at it again, and like I can't tell you how
great.
many times I've gone back and looked at this picture and convinced myself.
Send that picture to me. I'm gonna put
of
it
course,
on the
yeah. I
show.
can't tell you how many times I've opened this picture to convince myself that what I was seeing was not a face.
Yeah.
And every time I do, I'm like, it's a face.
No, I remember when you showed that to me. It looks like it's a face.
It's so, and
It's a face.
I took several
creepy.
pictures of this house, and there were 2 pictures that I took that were identical, exact same angle, exact same flash, exact same composition. And this is just something that I was, I guess, taught to do from ghost tours that I've been on in the past. You know, take lots of pictures. You catch orbs, you catch mists. You just never know. And you were talking about in the highest room where a young girl.
Yeah, that's where Mary, their youngest daughter,
So
lived.
that's where I was looking for. I snapped that picture and I'm like, I want to see Mary in the window. Oh, Mary's not in that window. Well, let me zoom in into these other windows. And I was not ready.
Is that on your Facebook or something, or?
I did post it to Facebook, but I will just send this to you.
It might be easier for me to just find it on your Facebook.
Oh, nope. It's on my Instagram stories.
Oh no.
And it's gone, but I'll just
I'll plug it in there when I do the edit on this. It'll look cool. Yeah, and so then after, you started us off at the Yarborough Hotel, which is no longer there because it burned up. How many years ago did that happen?
1928.
1928. And
That's when that burned down.
It was that whole block right in front of the courthouse, the Justice Center in Wake County. What's there now? It's the WRAL
No,
studios,
the ABC.
ABC 11
affiliate,
Okay.
yeah.
That
And there's
whole
some
block.
condos and stuff and restaurants. And
Yeah, Flying Mayan was there, but it closed. Oh,
I
no.
wasn't going to say it because I'm like, oh, Flying Mayan, rip.
Yeah. And then, getting back to the Capitol, it's not a working Capitol now. And when we got there, it was at nighttime, and they swear up and down that some lights were on that turned off. I don't remember seeing that, but.
This is kind of the one that I'll kind of, on my own account, just kind of take it with a grain of salt. But I just happened to glance over my shoulder and I saw a light turn off.
And I mean, yeah, because that could be power of suggestion or, because I know that was one of the things that I was focusing on too. But I have never been there where there wasn't at least one extra light on that was not supposed to be on. That wasn't turned on, because the only light that's supposed to be on in that building is the governor's office, and every other time there's been a hallway light on or a different room or a lamp is on somewhere or something else. And all of the Capitol Police will say, they go in, they shut everything down, and then there's always something else that gets turned on. Because they'll go back through. If they see a light go on, they will go back through and keep turning them off and turning them off and turning them off. I think these ghosts just love messing with this police.
What's the wildest thing you've seen out of the Capitol building?
The wildest thing I've seen is I was there and I saw a light go on while we were standing in front of the building. So not to the front, to the side, the one that faces Fayetteville. I was there with a group. We were staring up at the building, and a lamp went on the second floor while we were all standing there.
And this is at like 9 p.m.
Oh, yeah. It was late.
No one's there.
There's no one inside the building. And I walked around and told the police, and one of my favorite guards was there, who has told me countless times and told people on the tour that he's been in combat and the Capitol is scarier.
Man, that's crazy. So these Capitol Police guys that get this duty in front of the Capitol building, are they like low on the totem pole or something, like the low seniority guys?
I think a lot of them are retired from other police or they're ex-military because, I mean, that's their job is just the Capitol. They're in charge of just the state Capitol buildings. So those 2 buildings that are across the street on Wilmington, and then the 2 buildings that are across the street that face Fayetteville. So there's actually a 4 square that goes around the Capitol and then the actual Capitol itself. So they don't, it's a tiny little territory, but
their job is to protect that at all costs. And,
it is.
When you think about the state capitol, when you think about the nation's capital that was under siege in recent history, they have one job, and it is to protect that building.
I don't think they got to worry about anything. I think the ghosts will protect it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the ghosts are there to make sure that nothing's going to happen to that building.
I bet you no homeless people break into that place. Yeah, I bet nobody touches it. When the riots were bad last year, the riots were last year, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, did anybody mess with the state capitol?
No, but they had it pretty surrounded. It was they had barricades up. And there was extra forces that were there to make sure that nothing happened to it.
Okay.
Ooh.
Fair.
Imagine the pissed off ghosts. Because this is a real thing, and I think you had actually touched on it on the tour. When there's a disruption to a building that is inhabited by a spirit, these spirits can lay pretty dormant for long periods of time, and then when their structure is disturbed, be it like a remodel or a renovation, any kind of change, that stirs you up. If someone comes into your house and starts fucking shit up, you get pissed off, you get up in arms. So that's kind of my thought that kind of comes to mind is if anything were to happen to that Capitol building, if someone comes in and starts, ransacking and rampaging, that's going to wake up a ghost, and that's going to be a bad day for that guy.
Well, Carolyn told us that on the tour about the governor's mansion, the one room. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
What was the name of that room?
Governor Fowl.
The Fowl room. Don't mess with Fowl's bedroom.
He just wants his bed back. He just stop. Just let the man have his thing. I think a lot of these spirits maybe don't know they're dead, and maybe don't know, and then are experiencing time in a different way. So like you were saying that when everything is calm and peaceful, they're in kind of a different state of consciousness or something. And then when something gets changed, to them it's almost like, well, I'm home and someone is here invading my home. And you're obviously going to have a pretty violent reaction to when something like that happens. And so...
And you're a spirit. You can't just start yelling at this guy, excuse me, where are you taking my stuff? And, you're screaming, but nothing's happening. They're not hearing you. So you have to adapt and do what is within your metaphysical abilities to get someone's attention. And Governor Fowl, what did he do? He burst some pipes.
Yeah, there was water sounds in the walls and the sounds of scratching and stuff from inside the walls.
God, that's creepy. What's your take on movies like The Conjuring? I know these are pretty much, they deal in demons, but some of these movies, what was the one where they were in London, was it? And the old man like died in that chair, and he was being haunted by a demon, his ghost. Remember? And he would just yell.
Yes.
What's your take on stuff like that? Because all the Conjuring movies are like based on true stories.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of that stuff too is, different maybe spirits or different people from different eras or different things have like kind of were on a path somewhere and maybe got waylaid or found themselves in a spot where they weren't supposed to be. Or, is there true evil?
Have you experienced evil ghosts in Raleigh?
I have not. No.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is territorial ghosts in Raleigh. So they're attached to a specific place and not necessarily haunting a person. Because I think that's what a lot of those movies focus on is, people who have gotten attached to a person and are trying to cause harm and are very conscious of the fact that they're there to do something truly, truly evil. Where I don't think any of the ghosts that are in Raleigh are that. I think that they just have unfinished business and they're trying to figure out a way to get where they need to be, maybe. And are trying to finish the business. And maybe and like I said, I think maybe sometimes people don't know they're dead.
Have you seen the video of the guy driving the Tesla near a Civil War burial ground or a Civil War? Yeah, he's driving the Tesla, and Tesla's got this big fancy screen in the middle console. It's like keeps you driving, the auto drive feature. It senses people and objects around, which keeps it in the lane. So this guy's driving down the road, and he's going through this Civil War battleground, and there's figures of people walking across the street, walking on the side of the screen. Yeah, you can actually.
So it's picking up the energy from that GPS or whatever it is. That's crazy.
Oh my.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull that up for you.
Well, I'm convinced that's what's happening in Moore Square. Is that there's just they're just people kind of walking around, not sure exactly where they are or what's going on, or maybe having to relive things over and over and over again, and they're caught in some horrible energy loop.
That's kind of my concept of hell.
For sure. Yeah.
If you are a truly terrible person and that's kind of where you end up, that might be what it is. Just like an eternity of, kind of being trapped in where you were at the time of your perishing, however traumatizing that was, or kind of being trapped in this moment that just keeps passing you by, and you're just watching the world go on without you, and you're so confused and you don't know why everything's happening. Moore Square does not look the same as it did when I was alive. What is going on? That I'm sure is hell in and of itself.
Yeah, it's like somebody who has dementia or Alzheimer's or something, and they're just kind of trapped and experience everything but can't communicate and can't.
And you're trying to communicate the best you can, but Moore Square now is just so loud that even if you were alive, flesh and bone, conscious, standing in the middle of Moore Square screaming, would anyone even look up? Imagine being a ghost trying to. Oh, so sad. Did you find it?
I can't find the exact one. Oh gosh, yeah. Whenever I want something, I can never find it. This is.
But that's good. I've got mad chills thinking
totally.
about that.
I'm gonna find it. Well, this one right here says Tesla spots a ghost, but this is not the one. The one I saw, it was crazy, man. It was two walking on this side, one on this side. It's riding through a cemetery. Let's spend 9 minutes later. Oh, what's that? What is that? That's okay, flowers. Oh, right there. Oh, I saw it. See that?
Yeah, I see that.
Merp.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about that. That's crazy stuff.
So, we on our last show together, we touched a little bit on, you know, the places you took us to and the great stories there. What else did you come with today?
So today I have been reading a lot, and my interest has been piqued on the Mortar Key House.
Okay.
So, in just about a week ago, I met this darling grad student, another history nerd, and she did an internship with the Raleigh Park District and with the Historic Society at the Mortar Key House.
Oh my God.
And she had,
Key House?
there it is, yes. It is Raleigh's oldest house. It was built in 1785. So even before Raleigh was founded.
Wow.
And she said she's had firsthand experiences. I've been to the house a couple times. I've done the tour of the whole the whole Mortar Key historic area. But she said that same thing I think that the Capitol Police experience at the Capitol, that you don't want to be in the Mortar Key House by yourself at night because it's just super, super creepy.
Has she shared with you?
She said that when she one time was there really late, she was walking up the stairs to, you know, close up things, and she got about halfway up the stairs and she couldn't keep going. She said that she just was overcome with this like sense of sadness. And she said she said it was just like everything got really heavy in her body. And so she just stopped for a little bit, and then she just turned around and walked back downstairs. And she said, I can't go up there. There was something that was stopping her from walking up the stairs.
What was it?
Yeah, so it's Mary. So
Okay.
Mary is the ghost who lives there, and their family. It's like a soap opera.
Oh my God.
Mary, Mary, why
Yes.
you bugging?
So yeah, Mary Willis Mordecai Turk is the ghost that lives there. There are pictures of her. She either appears to people in full form, in like a Victorian garb. She died in 1937, but she lived from 1858 to 1937 and lived in the house most of the time.
Wow. So, and did you say this? But it's the oldest original
It
house
is the oldest
in Raleigh.
house in Raleigh, yes.
In its original location. That's wow.
In its original location. So her ancestors was Joel Lane, who is credited at being at founding Raleigh. And Raleigh is essentially like a drunken mistake.
It still is.
Yeah, it really is.
Stop it.
It's so tragic.
I love
but,
it
Oh,
here.
no.
So, yeah, and we all do. But he had a big parcel of land that he had. His family was originally living in Virginia. He had a big parcel of land, and when they were talking, all the powers that be, about making Raleigh a city and making it the state capital, he took all of the people out and got them drunk because he had this parcel of land that was kind of useless, and he wanted to unload it. And he convinced all of the future Raleigh leaders to buy this land from him, and that's what was turned into Raleigh. They originally were going to put it next to the Neuse River so that it would, and that makes more sense, right? Because then you're next to where commercially ships can come in and there can be things that are brought to the city. But, Joel Lane convinced them to buy this land in this, kind of weird swampy valley that he wasn't able to grow anything on. And that is what became Raleigh.
Wow. It says the Mordecai Historic Park has an exclusive paranormal research team since 2017. The Ghost Guild, Inc., a registered nonprofit organization that investigates the house and its surrounding buildings at least 3 times per year.
Yeah.
They present their findings at the annual Haunted Mordecai Festival in October. Oh, we just missed it.
So, Okay, so Mary Willis, Mortar Key Turk. That's a mouthful.
It is, yeah. Because it's like those, those really snobby families that really take pride in kind of ancestral heritage and stuff. But the Mordecais, or the Mortar Keys, however you want to pronounce it, they were Jewish.
Okay.
And kept changing their minds every generation about how they felt about being Jewish. So one generation is like really pro-Jewish. They have named their children Moses and Jacob, and then the next generation comes along and they hide it from everybody and they baptize all the kids and all the kids are Christian. So they kept flipping back and forth. So Mordecai doesn't sound Jewish the way that Mordecai does. And so that's one of the reasons why it's Mordecai. We don't know. And it was just kind of how certain families were feeling at the time.
Huh.
Like, are we going to pretend that we're not Jewish, or are we going to like gung-ho and build build a tabernacle? They kept changing their minds. So originally, Joel Lane, his family built the house. He gave it to his son Henry. Henry married this woman named Margaret. Married named Margaret. Then their daughter married Moses Mordecai.
Okay.
And he was a Jewish immigrant from Germany. Came over, and I think they met in Virginia, and they decided to set up shop. But it was the Mordekeys who essentially took over the house.
Where is this house located in Raleigh?
It's just off of Wake Forest, near, so like if you're going down Blunt, like past the governor's mansion, and then you get all the way to Wake Forest, there's like a whole little area. And Andrew Johnson's birthplace is there, and Raleigh's first church, and there's a school, and it's all like these little buildings that are
near
in.
Gringo A Go Go. Really great Mexican food.
Oh, yeah, it is.
All right,
Yeah,
I see a road trip coming.
Mm-hmm. It's neat.
Road trip.
Mary, I'm assuming, lived and died in this house.
She did, yeah. So this whole family was just obsessed with keeping up appearances.
Okay.
So there was a lot of inbreeding.
Oh, no.
A lot of marrying of first cousins. A lot of people who, like, one wife would die and then they would just marry the sister and then marry the first cousin and then go. And so there was just...
Oh, boy.
You know, what happens when a family doesn't kind of, like, start to branch out enough is there's a lot of mental illness. And then by the time we get to Mary's generation, which she was... I even, like, wrote out their family tree. So from Joel... She was 7 generations in.
Oh, wow.
From back when the house was built in 1785. So by the time we got there, like all of her cousins and aunts and uncles, I mean, they are so tightly involved.
So you probably already got
with each other.
Like you probably already have before Mary came. She's 7th generation, so you probably already had about 5 generations of incest.
There was so much incest and so much inbreeding because, like I said, this family was so worried about sounding too Jewish or not being important enough. They were all lawyers. There were several state senators. These were very, very powerful people. Plus one of the largest plantations in the area, and they had a huge amount of slaves that they were awful to. Like there's been all of this documented instances of just being awful to their slaves. So, and so there was a lot of terrible things happening at the Mortar Key House in conjunction with, the fact that they were slave owners. They were proud Southern Confederates and were the first ones to kind of take up the cause during the Civil War. And then at the same time, we're part of a minority population that was also being persecuted. And so they had this inner turmoil going on of like, are we Jewish? Are we not Jewish? Are we? So, yeah, they were Anstasi Jews. So that kind of like North African like the Jews that originally came from like parts of Morocco and stuff
Uh-huh.
that originally, so they were already kind of like a darker people. And I think, a lot of times I think when people are trying to hide something about themselves, then they lash out
They go hard.
and they go hard on other minorities.
To
Yes.
kind of create this, I'm going to say it, whiteness.
Yeah.
To mask their own. Yeah.
So they were very self-important, and like it was all about manners, and they started their own schools to train their girls in order to act a certain way, and they only wanted them to marry within certain families, and when they couldn't find those certain families, then they just married within. And yeah, by the time it got to Mary, things were just hitting the fan.
Yes. I would say things were quite
So her father was like just awful. There was a lot of domestic abuse. Her mother was being beaten on a regular basis. All of the girls were treated horribly. And then along with the sons, and it says now like Mary turned that into kind of being like she never wanted to make a mistake. So she was the best proper girl that you could possibly be. And this is one of the things that her ghost focuses on now, that they say that when something happens in the house that she doesn't approve of, her portrait tips. Like that she's like looking like, I see you. It all has to be, it's perfect manners, it's perfect furniture, it is perfect decorations. Everything has to be perfect.
Okay.
It's keeping up with the Mortar Keys.
That appearance.
Yeah, and they have to keep up with those appearances. She was like a beauty queen. Like she would have been one of those debutantes that they would have taken out to show off in society.
Okay. I pulled up a picture. She was beautiful.
Yeah.
I
So
can't find a picture of any of them.
I
I'm
found
the worst producer ever.
Yeah, there are some good.
I can't find anything.
There are some good pictures of.
Oh, okay.
I was able to pull one picture of her, and I mean, it's a beautiful portrait. You know,
Carolyn, has the Mortar Key House been on any television shows?
It has. It's been on, I think, 2 shows on the Sci-Fi Network. Like I think the Ghost Hunters show, but you'll find it in articles if you do any reading. One of the Ghost Hunters shows was at the wrong house and confused the Mortar Key House with Andrew Johnson's birthplace.
oh my God.
And then they were like looking for something in the pipes, and they weren't even at the right house. And then all of the people on the show got food poisoning.
Oh boy.
And that's what they showed. So really, they just kind of look like idiots.
What'd they get food poisoning
I
from?
don't know.
Andrew Johnson, that was the president, Andrew Johnson.
Yeah, he was
Probably, like,
Lincoln's-
making
he
fun
was
of
Lincoln's
them.
vice president. So when Lincoln was shot, he was the one that became president, and he was born here.
Raleigh-born president. How about that?
Yeah.
No.
So that's probably why they got food poisoning. Everyone involved, all the ghosts involved are like, what are
No.
these idiots
Yeah,
doing?
so they weren't even at the right house, and it shows that I saw pictures of that show. They're like on the roof, and then it pans down, and they're not at the Mortar Key House, and they keep referring to it like that. This is the Mortar Key House, and anybody in this area is like, no, dude, that's not the Mortar Key House.
I definitely have to go here.
Yeah.
This place just looks spooky. So at nighttime, what goes on at nighttime there?
So at night, she likes to. I think she still thinks that she's here hosting the society's parties, because there's people constantly coming in the house. So I'm sure as far as Mary is concerned, they're here to visit her. Because she was there to accept the guests and to, she probably had the tea parties and is hosting the debutante balls, and she's, president of the junior league, and she's doing all the things that good Southern ladies do. So she plays the piano, and when people are in different parts of the house, you can hear like the little ivory keys tinkling, and you go back in the room and there's nobody sitting at the piano bench. Wow. And she hovers around people. She she'll be mad at some people. They say that she's knocked portraits off of walls when she's like upset about something. You know, she gets upset at one of her brothers, or she's upset with her father and she knocks their portrait off the wall.
Okay, that was my next question was
Yeah.
like, is she upset with someone who's living who's at the house and she knocks over a picture?
Yeah,
or
well, yeah,
she's
there
having
isn't-
posthumous arguments with.
I think she's having these these death arguments. No one's lived in the house since 1967. So it was sold to the city and the Historic Society. But the Mortar Keys were living there since then. And there are Mortar Keys that are still living here in Raleigh now.
Oh, wow.
So these descendants of the family, and they're going through a lot of stuff right now. Like, you know, there's a lot of different agencies that want them to start paying retribution for some of the terrible things that the family did. And they have publicly come out and said, you know, we're real sorry what happened in the past, but it's not our fault. So what are you going to do about it? Yeah.
I mean, there's a way to say it. That's not the way.
No, for sure. It is still, you know, kind of, keeping up appearances.
Yeah.
So, Mary, is she the only one who's kind of made herself?
She's the only one that they know of that has made herself very, very visible in this house. I mean, there might be other spirits there. They think she died in the house. They're not sure.
You would think with all the bad stuff that happened there's like a lot of people died on those acres.
That was my thought
so
too.
there would be a lot of ghosts. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
around
and
there.
she's buried with the rest of her family. They all have like a huge plot.
Is that the
All of the
Oakwood
different-
Cemetery?
With
They're
all
in
of the different
Oakwood.
Mortar Keys, and they're at Oakwood. Her headstone is huge. It's like mausoleum huge. Like all of this stuff written about her, and they're all like that. All of
I did pull that up when
all
I was
of the
looking
heads
for.
of the household. You know, all of the kind of the main Mortar Keys basically all have really, really large headstones.
I'm excited. to
And
know.
they think that there were some that had relations with some of the slaves too.
Yeah.
So then there are, you know, some different descendants that have come forward. Like, yeah, that's me.
I am the worst
That's a
Googler
mess.
during a podcast ever.
Well, you were just spearheading
I'm
right
like-
into Oakwood Cemetery, which we were briefly discussing before recording. So we've got another little ghosty at Oakwood.
So in Oakwood is just they call her the spinning angel. And it's a statue that's right in the middle of the cemetery. And she just follows people around.
Just her head.
Just the head. Yeah, just her face will just kind of look to see what's going on. That cemetery, you know, has, you know, all of the haves and have-nots are buried there. So there's every walk of life is buried at Oakwood.
I mean,
So this angel, is she somebody's? Is she somebody's? Is someone buried with her?
Yeah, she was a marker, but now I'm not sure if they know who it is.
look at
That
the.
I mean, I've done some research on it too, and it's just
We don't know who she is.
she's just the angel. They said that she looks like some poet that was around in the 1800s. I've read that.
doesn't look like a friendly angel. And look at the
no.
neck.
I mean,
you can see
she
the neck.
looks
It's like it's
super
got a line, a
judgy.
cut right
does.
there. Yeah, it's like that head's got some kind of mechanical mechanism that turns it.
And it
So it does a
could be
poltergeist.
that when she was erected, that it was supposed to be kind of like, you know, like that last
Yeah.
judgment before, like, gates of heaven kind of.
That's the
You know?
face I make when I've got a particularly troublesome customer. Yes.
Wow.
I mean, she just looks like she's going, bruh.
Now, is this an angel on a tomb or like,
no,
it's
it's a statue.
just a statue that's out in the middle of the cemetery, or okay.
And she's there. And she, you know, people have said that, you know, they're like, okay, she is always watching. That no matter where you are, if you can see the statue, it looks like she's looking at you.
Maybe she's pissed somebody broke her wings.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, her wingtips are broken.
I think that's just wear and tear. How old is this statue?
I think it's about 100 years old.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the Mortar Keys established a Jewish cemetery next to Oakwood. So probably within one of those generations when they were cool with being Jews.
Okay.
That is, it's like separate, but with it.
Right.
Now, do you have to call the Mortar Key House and set up an appointment to go see it?
No,
Or
it's part of the National Park Service.
Oh, so you can just go
Yeah,
during
so
the
you
day?
can go there. They do have, I think they have self-guided tours that just happen at any time, and they're open, just like regular hours.
Okay.
But they also have guided tours with some of the historians, park ranger kind of people, and you have to make an appointment for that.
I kind of want to go just to see if I can experience some boo. I need that. I need it. I need to see it.
And around Halloween, I know they do all sorts of like kind of more intense, kind of like, Morris storytelling kind of experiences. But it's cool to see at any time. It's a beautiful house.
Why is it you think that the only ghosts we ever hear about are from like maybe 100 to 200 years ago? How come there's no caveman ghost or anything like
You
that?
gotta wonder. I mean, maybe there are, and we're, these are just the loudest.
Yeah.
When was the last time you heard about a paranormal research team going into a cave to look for ghosts?
Well, not necessarily in a cave, because where we sit right now in this studio, 1,000,000 years ago, there was probably dinosaurs and cavemen here, buried way underneath us. So maybe that's what you saw in the hall was a
I'm going
caveman
less
ghost.
cavemen and more indigenous Americans.
I don't know. I just think it's funny how it's always like 1800s and late 1700s are the ghosts that we see. That's as far as they're documented back.
I'm not
Like, how
gonna lie,
come
you kind of went in a different direction than I thought you were going to. I thought you were gonna go, how come there's no like angry teenager screaming "It's Britney, bitch" at me in a disembodied voice?
Well,
and then you kind of went in the opposite direction where like, how come there's no Neanderthal hauntings?
Well, and I'm sure there was like that they have out west, like Trail of Tears kind of stuff, that there's been some some indigenous people that are haunting areas. My children and I went to South Dakota this past summer, and there we went to the Wind Cave National Park, and there's some spooky stuff happening in those caves.
Oh yeah.
I think there's definitely people who have gone down there and gotten trapped, and maybe their spirits are still there, as well as, probably some, indigenous people that, are just, not super excited about having all of these tourists trooping all over.
All these fucking white people.
Jesus, Laura.
They just keep coming.
Calm
They
down
take our
over there.
land and they just keep coming.
And then they come back and haunt our houses. It's only the white people that haunt houses too. Can we get some diversity in the supernatural field?
Well, that's not true.
Okay, name some.
Browns Island in Richmond.
You got to go to your hometown, don't you? You just can't pull something from anywhere else.
Richmond is super fucking haunted, bro.
Jeez.
It is.
I mean, Richmond was founded before Raleigh. And Raleigh is kind of like just an extension of Richmond. It's Richmond, but nicer.
Was Richmond on purpose?
I'm
Or was
assuming
it a drunken mistake?
Yeah, like a drunken
Richmond
mistake.
was.
All right.
I'm thinking Richmond was on purpose because that was supposed to be the nation's capital before it was DC. In fact, you did touch on that.
Yeah, it was one of the 5.
And this was a pop quiz. I'm going to try to remember them. Okay.
I know it already because there's a big hint at
it
the
was
Natural History Museum in Raleigh.
Richmond, Raleigh, not New York.
Dum, 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 dum,
Someone had said Boston. You said no, not Boston. Philadelphia. What's number Charlotte?
Nope. It was
Roanoke?
Bath.
Oh, shit, that's right.
Yeah, it was,
I would have never... I was
yeah.
thinking, like, Greenville, but I'm like...
I remember
Well, yeah,
I
and
learned something.
Bath and New Bern, they were going to make the state capitals of Raleigh before it, but then they were afraid of pirate invasions.
Which is a very real threat at the time.
Oh, totally. And also Edward Teach, Blackbeard,
Blackbeard.
had homes in both New Bern and Bath.
He was ruthless.
And
Has he
so-
got a ghost, you think?
Oh, yeah, there's got to be ghosts of Blackbeard.
Oh,
wonder where he would-
ruthless.
I would bet he'd be in Bath. That's another really cool spooky place.
And Bath is like eastern North Carolina, right?
Yeah, it's like a
out in the
couple
middle
hours
of
from here.
nowhere. Yeah.
So...
Well, because everything commercial, when everything packed up and moved to Raleigh, like they left Bath, and there was nothing left of Bath. So I mean, that's all that's there is just like historic stuff now.
And you said something on the tour about the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia, because we have one in Raleigh.
Yeah, it's
at
just
the
a little
Natural History
nod to Philadelphia, and so like a
Oh,
little
okay.
mini Liberty Bell is in front of the History Museum here in Raleigh.
So there's like
We
really...
had that. We went.
Yeah, yeah we did. Yep. So there's no significance with that bell being there except for being like
No, I think it's just kind of like we're all in the same club,
Oh, okay.
you know, of like.
We were almost the nation's
Yeah,
capital.
you know.
Cheers.
I think it's kind of like, you know, when like cities are trying to like, you know, get the Olympics.
Oh, okay.
You know, when they
yeah.
have to like, you know, they all had to write their essays and put out their little plan and do their presentation. And,
So basically that bell is a participation trophy,
yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
They were giving out participation trophies
it's a
way back then.
consolation prize.
yeah. I'm sure
Yeah,
it
they
was just
yeah.
like, hey, we were all doing this together. Here's a little thing for you guys to.
I'm going to go back to Bath real quick
Okay.
because I'm trying to picture where it is. Blackbeard's ship was found off the coast of Beaufort, correct?
Yeah.
Where is
So Bath is
in
on the
relation
way.
to Beaufort?
So if like, you know, kind of like where like the Outer Banks is here, and then Beaufort's like right here. Bath is kind of like just a little bit further in, like closer to like Elizabeth.
Maybe that'll help
Oh,
out a
yeah.
little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
right
so
there.
like see how it kind of like tucks in,
Yeah, right off
like
the
in that
Got-
sound.
so there's like that
that's
little
there.
inlet, and then Beaufort, yeah, I guess is a little.
They were actually considering putting the nation's capital on the coast.
Yeah, but like I said, they were afraid of pirate invasions.
Wild.
Woo.
Well, I want to go to Bath. I want to see this.
It's neat there. There's just, I mean, it's a, you know, it's like almost like going to, you know, in Virginia next to Busch Gardens.
Oh, Williamsburg.
Yeah, it's like it's like that.
I don't know. Williamsburg sucks.
It's like commercialized.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, imagine like, you know, kind of like it's just this like little area that you just
Yeah.
kind of walk around and be like, oh, there's some candles and there's the little cobbler guy.
I
And,
did have the
Humbler
pleasure of when I was traveling for work. I did stay in Old Town Williamsburg one time because my family still lives pretty close to Richmond. So when I was traveling in Virginia, I would just stay with my family. But for shits and giggles, I'm like, let's stay in Old Town Williamsburg. It was a Hampton Inn. It was like $47 a night, and I'm like, why not? And it was kind of cute. It had like all the brick roads, and it was a good time. But I'm like, Williamsburg is it kind of sucks. Like there's Busch Gardens and the sad shopping center, and then everyone else is just like on their way to the beach.
I think, I mean, it's because it's not very big. It's just like a few blocks.
It was quite
Yeah.
small. I was kind of surprised how small it was too.
And that's what Bath is too. Bath is very
That's what she said.
tiny.
I stole your line, sorry.
We are having educated discussions here.
Yeah, it's what my teenagers say all the time.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was
yeah.
poor
And
Carolyn
mine
is like
too.
totally
My
used to
17-year-old daughter says it, and I don't know how to take it. I'm like, stop it, Kayla. Don't say that. I'm your father.
Bruh,
Your
she got
friend
it from
high school.
you.
It's, that whole generation is obsessed with The Office. So
great show.
You can blame Steve Carell.
Yeah.
That's why they say that's what she said all the time.
Steve Carell and Dwight. Michael and Dwight. Yes,
Did that one
love that show.
skip a generation, like with millennials? Because like boomers love it, Gen Z loves it. I feel like I'm the only person who's like, yeah, The Office has like some funny moments, but I'm not obsessed with it.
Lots of funny moments until Steve Carell quit the show. Then they tried. Then they brought him back for like that wedding.
It was just the last episode.
It was sad. The wedding, and he didn't even have
It was beautiful.
couple of parts, and he's like a cameo. It wasn't even funny.
Well, you know what? Another podcast I listen to is Office Ladies. Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsley, who played Pam and Angela on the show.
Okay.
And they talked about that final episode that was 100% a surprise. Nobody in the cast knew it was happening.
Really?
So the director and the producers just did that for the cast, so they could bring Steve back, for an actual reunion, because they were all super, super close.
Oh,
so that's why I think it was just like that little part,
Yeah.
because they couldn't rehearse it or anything. It was just like, it was a surprise.
Yeah, he
Oh, wow.
didn't he quit the show because he asked for more money or something like that?
No, he quit the show because it was getting his schedule was getting to be too crazy.
Oh yeah.
Because he was getting so many movie parts and getting all this work, and he was doing everything for a long time. They talk about that on the show all the time, that he'd tape Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then like fly out and be like taping a movie, like making a movie like on a long weekend, and then come back and essentially doing like 2 full-time jobs, and he was just exhausted and he couldn't.
I think he should have never done movies. Just stay with The Office. Right. 40-year-old version's like my favorite movie that he did. I couldn't even tell you anymore. Didn't he play Moses in a movie or something? Or
Yeah, that Evan Almighty.
Evan
Oh,
Almighty.
that was
yeah.
it. I'm like, he wasn't Bruce Almighty, because that was that other.
Jim Carrey, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, look, Carolyn. So here's what we do on Hammered.
all right.
We play trivia. Okay.
All right.
So what happens is you're going to go up against Laura, and it's been a while since we've had a trivia. Well,
I'm
last
going against
episode,
a
but
teacher.
well, you know what? Today's
Really, my knowledge is very niche. You might actually know a lot more than I do.
I am more of a jack of all trades. Just like
so.
well, this is a jack of all trades quiz.
Okay.
That since it's Halloween was yesterday, and you work with paranormal tours and stuff, ghost is going to be the theme. The word ghost is either going to be in the question or it's going to be in the answer.
I was like, please don't
Okay.
mean
Okay.
the movie.
So
Like with Demi Moore. So we're going to talk about pottery.
That's the one. There's a
could be.
Whoopi Goldberg
It
in that
could be
too.
She
in
is.
this.
That's all I
And
know.
There was a musical of that show too.
Oh no.
Ran on Broadway for a little bit. It's actually.
Were
not
you in it?
No, I've never
No?
been in that show, but it's not a terrible show.
Did they have the pottery scene?
They did. Yeah.
Oh wow. Did they knock that out of the park? Come on.
I've seen it. I saw Theater Raleigh do it, and it was okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll take okay.
it was okay.
All right. Well, let's take this. Okay. Well, let me finish the rules. I got to tell Carolyn how it goes down. So you're going to get 3 questions, and Laura gets 3 questions. If you are both tied at the end of your 3 questions, we go into sudden death question overtime.
Fantastic.
And we keep on going until we get a winner. We've got 20 questions that I can go through.
Wow.
So let's hope we don't reach. These are some hard ones, so I'm not thinking we're going to go through 20 questions.
That's what she said.
There we go. All right.
Amazing.
Carolyn, since you are our guest in Naughty Donkey Studios, you're going to go first.
All right.
This is an animal ghost question.
Oh God.
Val Kilmer and Michael Douglas starred in a 1996 film titled The Ghost in the Darkness, based on the book The Man-Eaters of Tsavo, which told the true story of 2 animals that killed as many as 135 workers on an African railroad in 1898. What kind of animals were the ghosts in the darkness? Were they baboons, lions, alligators, or boa constrictors?
I am gonna go baboon.
That is wrong.
Okay.
They were lions.
Lions.
Were
okay.
the lions ghosts or were they lions?
They were lions. The movie was Ghost in the Darkness.
So was there a ghost?
No, the lions just
They were. It was
Oh,
like
okay.
symbolic ghosts.
it's a symbolic ghost.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Okay.
The Tsavo man-eaters, so named because the railroad workers were trying to build a bridge over the Tsavo River in Kenya, were eventually killed by engineer Lieutenant Colonel John Henry Patterson, who wrote the book, but it took him almost a year to finally track and shoot the lions.
Aw.
Interesting.
All right, so
Just
Carolyn
lions being lions, you know.
Right.
But they killed 135 workers.
That is a lot. That's a lot.
How many? And it was 2 lions? Is that what they said it was?
That's an excessive amount of
Overachievers.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right, Laura. This is a brain teaser's ghost question. A 1967 Arthur Koestler book, a 1981 album by The Police, an episode of The X-Files from 1993, a 1993 horror movie starring Karen Allen and Ted Marco. What title do all these things share? Mm-hmm. Is it Black Ghost, Ghost in the Bathroom, Ghost in the Machine, All Tomorrow's Ghosts?
Oh, wow.
And I told you it's going to be tough.
Okay, you don't have to tell me the years. You said a Police album, a spooky movie.
Yes. An episode of The X-Files from 1993.
Okay.
A 1993 horror movie starring Karen Allen. You know who Karen Allen is?
Nope.
Indiana Jones.
Oh,
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh,
Harrison
yeah.
Ford's
I like
love
her.
interest.
She's good.
And Ted Marco.
I'm going to, All the Ghosts of Tomorrow? All Tomorrow's Ghosts?
That is wrong. The correct
Was
answer
it
is
Ghost in the Machine?
Ghost in the Machine.
Yeah, I knew that only from the Police album.
All right. That was kind of the only thing I was hanging on to, but even I couldn't pull that one out. Well,
Ghost in the Machine originally came from Gilbert Ryle and his critique of Descartes' idea and the mind and the body are separate things, the mind being of the ghost and the machine of the body. But it's just such a cool phrase that it became ambiguous in pop culture.
Descartes?
What? Descartes.
Descartes.
Descartes. It's a E-S on the end.
Oh, my God. It's French. They don't pronounce everything.
It is. It is Descartes.
Descartes.
Yeah. He's a philosopher.
I got nothing. We're moving on to question number 3. You both got 0 questions right so far.
I'm going to throw this out there. You know, Jeopardy producers, if you're still looking for a great host,
Yeah.
boy, do I know someone who can just make it happen for you.
So I think with Carolyn's background, you see how I just ignore that and just move on? So with Carolyn's background right here, I think she's going to go and get this one right. She'll be 1-1 after this.
Okay.
All right. This is a celebrity's ghost question.
No pressure. Mm-hmm.
If a celebrity uses a ghost, what is he or she using? Drugs, a kind of girl, a professional writer, a body double for a nude scene.
It's a professional writer.
Boop. A professional writer is correct.
Yeah.
A ghost writer does the actual work, and the celebrity signs his or her name to the book.
Mm-hmm.
That's bullshit.
Can you can you do me a favor?
You want me to pronounce something again, don't you?
No.
What?
No. What's happening is you're prefacing the question. You're like, here's a celebrity ghost question, and like that's kind of misleading.
That's what it says right here, though. So
can you just ask the question? I don't want the preface because it's
okay.
it's misleading.
You got it. Here we go. You ready?
Thank you.
No exposition.
Right. Carolyn's up 1-1. You're down 0-1. Your question. I would tell you what it is, but I'm not. Marvel Comics superhero Johnny Blaze is known as what? The Green Ghost, Ghost Rider, Space Ghost, or Ghosts of Girlfriends Past?
What's his name? The
Johnny Blaze.
Johnny Blaze. Green Ghost.
And you are wrong.
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. Nicolas Cage played him in 2 movies.
I have 3 teenage boys. I know.
I don't. I don't know these things.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to fare this bad. Oh, man. All right, so look, this is for the win, Carolyn.
Oh,
right here.
great.
You get this one
Yeah.
right, you have 1 hammer trivia. I want to make sure you get a good one here. Let's see.
What? You can't comb the questionnaire.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna set her up. You're gonna
I'm
set me
throwing
up.
Carolyn a softball right here. All
I
right.
knew it.
In which city might you take a ghost walk and visit haunted sites like St. Mary Le Beau, Groveland Court, and the Wood Street Compter?
Is that New Orleans or?
You want the answers?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
London,
Oh.
Budapest, Paris or Chicago?
London.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, that is correct. London.
Oh.
The Compter is supposedly the cellar of a long debtor's prison. Groveland Court has a ghost who disappears into the walls. Finally, St. Mary Le Beau has seen several murders and fatal catastrophes in its long history. London ghost walks are remarkably popular.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would love to do a London ghost walk.
Well, let's put that on our itinerary.
That shit would be spooky. I would like to hear some of these other questions. I do feel
Feel cheated.
I do feel it, but I should be used to it by now. But I do feel a little cheated.
So I'll just put some up here. All right, so this is the wrong answer key. I've got the
nice.
answer
We'll scroll
questions
up.
here. Okay, and a 1997 remix album, Blood on the Dance Floor. History in the Mix spawned the double single History Ghosts. Who was the thrilling artist who sang these songs?
Oh, I
Of
like
course,
that.
like Michael Jackson.
I like
You know,
that.
your choices were Michael Jackson, Prince, Bruce Springsteen, and Sir Mix-a-Lot. So,
I want to scroll up to the questions that don't have answers.
oh, you're just being difficult
I
right now.
wanna
Hold on,
see
let
the
me hold on.
questions.
I'm looking there. Look,
I
this
wanna
is the
redeem
questions.
myself. Wait,
It's too
scroll
late,
up,
you
scroll
lost.
Up, scroll up. Question 6.
All right.
A particularly annoying type of ghost is the poltergeist. What does the word poltergeist literally mean?
Do you know this, Carolyn?
I don't.
I'm going noisy ghost.
Noisy ghost?
Polter or geist is the word for noise, right?
But see, here's the thing, right? I can't just click it and it's going to tell me the answer. You got to answer
Or-
all 20 questions, and I just closed that window that had all
No,
the
it makes
questions
sense
up.
that geist is
Oh,
the
did
word
I?
for ghost.
Oh, dang it. I sure did.
Wait, I'm looking at it. Scroll up.
No, I closed
Shows
a
number
tab.
6. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, you got to, I don't know.
Mer-
There, way to train wreck us, Laura.
I
Now
just
I got, all
wanted
right,
to
which one
see-
was that one?
Number 6.
It was
Number
6.
6.
Noisy
ghost.
You were right.
So poltergeist is a noisy ghost.
See, I know something.
I have no idea what that was.
Well, congratulations, Carolyn. You have beat
Yeah,
Laura in the Hammer Trivia.
Except for the weird Val Kilmer movie. You know, that the rest of them were easy.
Can't get with that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
We should have
Never heard that before.
There's a movie, The Ghost Whisperer, right? Or is that? Am I thinking of something else?
There's a horse whisperer,
Horse Whisperer.
and then there's the show The Dog Whisperer. Is there a ghost whisperer?
Oh boy, I probably just ran off
Wait.
course.
Wasn't there a ghost whisperer? And it was that. Oh my God! It was that girl from.
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yes.
Yeah. See.
Yeah, it was a TV show. It wasn't a
Damn
movie.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, she was a ghost whisperer.
Yeah, it was Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yes.
I'm telling you, it was.
I was
You're
thinking,
right.
I'm like Party of Five. She was like the little girl in Party of Five. I'm showing my age.
I'm typing this in. Yeah, Ghost Whisperer cast. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, Jennifer Love
And
Hewitt.
she was a medium, right? And she wasn't she like solving crimes or something? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was her family members would contact her and
Mm-hmm.
she would like do a seance. Have you ever had one of those done?
No.
No.
Would you?
Oh, I would totally do that.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
100% I would do that.
Do you think spirits will inhabit a item that was like precious to them?
I don't know. I mean, I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to go as far as saying that they're like, going to stay in a house and like reverberate their energy over generations and generations, I would think that, like inhabiting a vase or a locket or something is probably not too far off from
Yeah.
inhabiting a house.
I don't know. I think it's weird. You said you listened to the last podcast we did, right? Did you hear the story I told about the German clock?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is your mother's spirit attached to the clock? First of all, I have been wanting to ask you this. Do you still have it?
I do. It was hanging on the wall in this hallway, and then I bought a new bed, and the movers came in and didn't see the clock and hit it with the mattress, and it fell and shattered.
Oh my God, I'd end those movers.
They tried to give me $75. I was like, you motherfucker, that thing's worth a lot more than $75.
That's my mother's.
I bought it in Germany. You can't just like go to.
She's deceased.
Can't go to Walmart and get one of those. It's not happening.
So, anyway, I digress. I was just, I remembered that I needed to ask you that out of my own morbid curiosity. But I think that story is less about your mother's spirit kind of attaching itself to that clock and more your mother providing you the sign that you required at the time, that she was at peace and she had crossed over and you didn't need to fear for her or
I don't know. I just know it was freaky.
Continue to seek out her comfort because she will come to you.
Okay.
I think that was her sign telling you I am okay. I think she has successfully crossed over. She is in the next realm, wherever that is. But I think if you need her again, she'll come back to you, and she'll find a way to do that for you.
And I would freak out if the clock starts cuckooing now in the condition it's in.
Where is the clock?
It's in my closet. I'll keep my ears out for it.
Can you get it repaired?
Man, that thing, Gorilla Glue, stuff like that. You know, I've really haven't tried, to be honest with you.
Yeah, if you take it to like a professional, like a clockmaker. Or...
Might be able to. I don't know. Maybe I'll get around to it sometime.
Well, my cousin that I'm really close to lost her father when she was pretty young, and she asked him before he died if he would always keep in contact with her. And so whenever she feels like that she needs to talk to her dad, she always sees a feather. And we were together near his grave. So this is my Uncle John. It's my mom's brother. And we were talking, and she was talking to her dad. And as we turned and walked around, and then a feather just kind of floated down from a tree.
Oh, man.
You know, and she was just like, thanks, Dad. You know, I know you're watching out for me. So, and she said she sees them all the time. That whenever she feels the need to get in contact with him.
That's something after losing my grandmother that I was like, man, we did not talk about that. Because my whole life with her, it never was a possibility for her to go. Never. Like... In my wildest dreams, it just never crossed my mind that I would be one day without my grandmother. So losing her, obviously super traumatic. That's my best friend, and now she's gone. But it also happened very quickly. She was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in April of 2018, and she was gone in October. So it was very quick. So, you know, these conversations never coming up, but...
Do you see cardinals a lot?
No.
Because those are a lot of times
they are messengers. Eagles.
Oh, wow.
Eagles and lot of repetitive numbers. So like 1111 just on a license plate.
Yeah.
And 11/17, weirdly, is my parents' wedding anniversary. That's coming up. It will be 37 years for them. I see 11/17 a lot. And I keep affiliating that with her, but I've never asked anything of her. I guess in that respect, like, show me you're here, please, you know, be with me. And it's just, you know, one of those, I guess, weird little regrets of never having that conversation with her, but she's definitely around. You know, she definitely finds her way to just kind of, here's 11/11, you're good, Grandma's got you, I'm here. And I talk to her all the time. I'll just be walking around my apartment talking to her. It's like, it's literally like she's never left. It's like I just call her up and talk to her. So that's probably the one thing I've written her letters to since her passing. She brought us up in Bethany Beach, Delaware, so that's why I'm like the colossal beach snob that I am now. I keep telling her to wait for me at Bethany, and I haven't been back since she's passed, but I'm wondering if I kind of just go to our favorite spots in Bethany. You know, will she be there? And how will she manifest herself if that's the case? So,
Oh, you'll know.
I think we'll end on that note.
Me.
No. Hey, I got to speak for Carolyn here. Go see Carolyn's tour, Tobacco Road Tours. I believe we're looking.
Please come and hang out.
Yeah, you can go to tobaccoroadtours.com or you can go to tobaccoroadtours.com/Raleigh and go right to the Raleigh tours. Any other way they can contact you?
Well, and also if you have kiddos who are interested in theater, my theater company is about to start back up our classes again. I'm directing A Midsummer Night's Dream with elementary school and middle school kids in the Briar Creek area. So just Google Children's Arts Collaborative.
Children's Arts Collaborative.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
And
I was just about to ask you.
We're going to come
company.
come and hang out with us. I work mostly with kids because they argue with me less than adult actors.
I get that.
So I like working with the children.
All right, I'm gonna come sign up for your acting classes. I got dreams I want to chase.
Definitely,
so never too old.
Mm-hmm.
I
have a fairy wing with your name on it.
I will wear it. I will. All right, Carolyn. Thanks for being on the show. We appreciate you being here. Laura, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, well, thank you.
All right, don't forget, subscribe to Hammered Podcast on the Naughty Donkey Studios channel on YouTube, and check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Peace. We'll see you next time.
Bye.